This is Duke University.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please stand and join us in greeting the Master of Management Studies class of 2012. Please be seated. I am Kathy Amato, the Associate Dean for the Master of Management Studies program, and joining me on the stage this evening are Bill Boulding, the Dean of the Fuqua School of Business, Owen May, our commencement speaker, Jennifer Francis, the Senior Associate Dean for Programs for the Fuqua School and a member of the MMS faculty, and members of the MMS faculty and staff who have worked very closely with the students this year. We all would like to welcome you to these commencement exercises for the MMS students from the class of 2012. Commencement is an interesting concept for those of us who work in higher education because it actually means to begin something, to commence. And that is indeed true. This is the beginning of something for the members of the class of 2012. But it also is bittersweet for those of us who work with them because it means they are leaving us. So for us, it is a time of looking back and celebrating all that they have accomplished, as well as a time for looking forward. So as a way of introduction, I would like to look back and tell you about what a remarkable class this has been. I could actually go on for a very, very long time talking about them, and you would not like it if I did so. So I'm actually going to limit my remarks to 3 areas to tell you about special contributions that these men and women have made to the Fuqua School. Let's start with their contributions academically. The Fuqua School prides itself on being a highly collaborative place of learning. The idea being that the students will learn from each other as much as they learn from the faculty, and that they will challenge each other and bring out the best in each other. We call it Team Fuqua. These students have fully embraced Team Fuqua and actually taken it to a new level. On their own, they created a very ambitious peer tutoring program where from the start of the program, in every single course, every single term, they would gather together to teach each other. It truly brought out the best in all of them, and it also brought out the best in us. But the Fuqua community for them did not stop at the walls of Fuqua. They embraced the broader community. We also pride ourselves on being a school that honors charity and philanthropy. These students fully embraced that, and once again, from the very beginning of the program, they were always finding people in need and figuring out a way to embrace them. Whether it was a food drive, a clothing drive, a toiletry drive, or a school supplies drive, we collected things for the needy in our community. But it didn't stop there. Fuqua has a very proud tradition called the MBA Games, where our MBA students, as well as MBA students from around the country, come together and raise money for Special Olympics. MMS students had never participated in that before. These students did, and they did so beautifully and admirably and raised a significant amount of money for that charity. And even at the very end of the term, when their focus should have been on their futures and studying for exams, on the Saturday between the last day of classes and the start of exams, they held a charity tennis tournament to raise money once again for the local community. So they truly embraced that aspect of the Fuqua spirit. The third area in which they embraced it was the care they showed for each other. They are a remarkably caring group of students who truly did do everything they could to support each other. And with that, they also had a lot of fun. And a story I know they would like me sharing with you is they played pretty much every intramural sport one can play at Duke. Sometimes they won, sometimes they didn't. But in flag football, when they had the opportunity to play Fuqua's MBA students in the championship finals, they won. So they really were remarkable. Now, obviously, they are high achieving or they would not be here, both as a class and as individuals. So in looking back at all they've done, please let's give a rounding round of applause to the Master of Management Studies class of 2012. Now it's time to move on to the celebration. So let's begin this evening's program. I would now like to introduce Phil Kim. He is the president of the MMS Student Association, and in that role, he led his classmates admirably. He is here tonight to present the Teaching and Excellence Award to a Fuqua faculty member. Phil?
Thank you, Kathy. When we started the program last July, we were told that we will be transformed. Indeed, I'm confident that I can speak for every single one of us that we all have become better individuals in the past 10 months. I'd like to use this opportunity to express our gratitude to our parents, faculty, administration for their guidance and support throughout our learning at Fuqua. The transformation was a process by which we're given an opportunity to reflect ourselves through our time at Fuqua. One of the most valuable resources we had was our exceptional faculty, and we're so fortunate to learn from some of the brightest and most interesting minds in their fields. Some people say there is a strong relationship between the depth of our learning and the difficulty we face. And for that, I'd like to thank all our faculty members for torturing us and making us push the limit. But much of our transformation derived from their passion and concern that they have for students so that we can achieve a better goal, and they illustrate that point throughout the whole year. This year's recipient of the Excellence in Teaching Award certainly excelled in motivating us with such passion and concern so that we did not stop in merely understanding the surface material, but made us consider the underlying concepts, an approach that we'll continue to carry on in our future endeavor. In addition, his demonstration of how Teddy Bear brings to life from a lot of materials and through different departments within a firm certainly proved the point that there's a balance between fun and accounting. On the behalf of MMS class of 2012, I'd like to present Professor Scott Daring with this year's Excellence in Teaching Award. Thank you, Scott, for not only teaching us, Thank you.
I'm going to commandeer the mic here. Well, I'm going to commandeer this microphone for just a second. Phil, thank you, and what a great surprise and a great honor. First of all, to you parents, thank you for raising and sending to Fuqua such an awesome group of students. It has truly been a pleasure for me to get to know each of them and to work with them. And I must say that in many ways, the greatest reward of being a professor is learning from the students. So to each of you, thank you for teaching me and helping me to learn from you. And as you know, in my class, we don't learn except for from each other. So I really appreciate the energy and the effort that you put in. And I have no doubt that among this class will be found many of the great leaders of our country, of our world, of the leaders of business, and it's been truly, truly a pleasure for me to get to know each of you, and I wish you good luck in your futures. So thank you.
Congratulations, Scott, on this much-deserved honor. Now I would like to ask Abina Arazor, Devin Bostock, and Crystal Loa to come forward. They are the class gift co-chairs, and they will present the class gift to Dean Bill Boulding.
Thank you. On behalf of the MMS class of 2012, we would like to present this check to Dean Boulding to show our support for the Fuqua School of Business. This gift to the Fuqua Annual Fund will help fund activities such as educating leaders of consequence in the classroom, faculty research, scholarships, technology, and international initiatives. This was a great year. We raised $3,340.84 with 78% participation from our class. Class of 2012, thank you. Thank you for your participation and your support.
Thank you all so much. I'm going to have to find a really big bank.
Class, thank you very much for that very generous gift. It is a Fuqua tradition that each graduating class elects a member of the class to be the class speaker. As you can imagine, to be selected to have this role is a very high honor, and it is not a decision which the students make lightly. This year's class has chosen very wisely in selecting Juliana Taylor to be their class speaker. Juliana, please come forward.
Good evening, fellow students, faculty, parents, and friends. On behalf of the MMS class of 2012, I'd like to welcome you to our graduation, and thank you for taking the time to come and celebrate with us. When I learned that I'd been selected to speak in front of my class, I was deeply honored. The first thing that came to mind was that Dean Amato was right. Business communications would really come in handy one day. I just hadn't realized it would be this soon. The best way to describe the MMS experience is 10 intense months of high-impact learning and training. Our notions of what we did and did not know have been completely transformed, and we've grown and matured both personally and professionally. One of the most important things that I've learned, which I hope to share with you before we all leave Fuqua, is openness to change. We've come a long way and achieved much, but there is also, hopefully, a long life ahead of us. In that life, things may or may not go as planned, but we must guard ourselves against being thrown off track. A favorite quote of mine is, "Write your plans in pencil and give God the eraser." This quote reaches beyond its religious undertones and really speaks for the need for us, especially as type A personalities who like to plan and succeed, to be open to what life has to offer. With this openness to change, I believe, comes two important things. The first is the courage to adapt to what is around us while adhering to our values. The second is the ability to recognize and take charge of leadership in its many forms. According to the Oxford Dictionary, courage is defined as the ability to do something that frightens one, bravery, or strength in the face of pain or grief. The definition I prefer, though, comes from Winston Churchill. He defines courage as going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. The outcomes of the challenges you're faced with and the trajectory your life follows will depend on your actions, both in success and in failure. In both, it's important to acknowledge the negatives, but also recognize the hidden positives and potential lessons they hold. Recognize change as it comes along. Don't simply ignore it. Assess that change and what it means for you and your values. Finally, decide on what you're going to do about that change. Don't just be a passive participant. We were charged with charting the course of our transformation when we began here at Fuqua, and this definitely shouldn't end when we graduate. Beyond being open to change, it's important to realize that our strong spirits and minds may also lead us to be the leaders and champions of this change. Sometimes, leadership stares you in the face, and other times, it pushes you to search for it. Whatever the case may be, I urge you to recognize your abilities, have confidence in them, and lead, regardless of what capacity it's in. Leaders aren't always the loudest or the toughest. They are the ones, though, who are visible through their ability to inspire and guide those around them. Show those around you that you are smart, capable, and creative, not just by saying, but by doing. Show a commitment to your values and make that clear to those around you. Last but not least, show integrity in your personality as a leader so that those around you may believe. Fellow classmates, before we leave here, I'd like you to take a look at the people sitting around you. This is your Fuqua family, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Juliana, thank you very much for those very inspirational words. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce again Dean Bill Boulding, who will introduce our commencement speaker.
So it is with great pleasure, actually with real joy, that I get the opportunity to introduce to you the commencement speaker, a person that many of the students know very well, Owen May. Owen is the managing partner and founder of MD Global Partners, which is a boutique investment banking and private equity shop. But I don't think what defines Owen is his firm, but rather the person that he is. Owen is, perhaps the simplest way I can put it is, when I grow up, I want to be like Owen May. I'm still working on it. Owen is brilliant and resilient. He's someone who has not always had the easiest path, but has always found a way to make a path work. He's someone who has never had a scrap of a sense of entitlement, but has always had a sense that if he works hard enough, if he works smart enough, and if he works with other people, he can get things done, and he has gotten things done in a magnificent way. He is entrepreneurial, and he is someone who is unbelievably good at collaborating with others, whether in East Asia, the Middle East, Europe, Africa. He knows how to network, and he knows how to get things done through co-creation with others. And so Owen is just an incredible human being who embodies the sense of Team Fuqua. He graduated from Fuqua in 1983 and has gone on from there to win every single alumni award that Duke University has, because he is someone who, though incredibly humble, is someone who has a real passion for giving back and making a difference in the lives of others. And so we're incredibly fortunate that he has a passion for Duke University, and that he's given back to us so much, and that he has an incredible passion for the MMS program and has done so much to work with all of you to make a great program even better. So without further ado, I give you Owen May.
It's with great honor and privilege to address the MMS class of 2012. Now, I know some of you must be wondering why I'm giving this year's speech. The answer is, I was set up. I have this thing for a free lunch, except this one kind of backfired. Carrie, the dean's assistant, must have heard through the grapevine that I had this weakness. She emails me one day and said Bill would love to take me to lunch while he was in New York. I checked my calendar. I so happened to be available that day, told her 12:30 would be perfect. Bill actually shows up to lunch early, which was great because my meeting before was with a Duke MBA that happened to have Bill as a marketing professor. We chatted, then Bill and I headed to lunch. When we get to the restaurant, trying to make some small talk, I asked Bill, when did he arrive to New York? He explained he just arrived. Okay. Then I asked him when he was leaving. He said, right after lunch. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so I didn't get it at first. Then he looked me square in the eye and said, Owen, I came to see you. Now, if I could have grabbed the check at that point, I would have. The only thing I had been served was water, and I had a feeling I was about to lose my appetite anyway. Then he made the ask, will you do the commencement speech? My knee-jerk reaction was, oh, hell no! I said this quietly to myself. I'm sure he read it on my face. What came out of my mouth was, can I think about it? He looked at me, I looked back at him, and Bill gave me a look. You just did. So that's why I'm here. I spoke to the first MMS class, and I guess it went over okay. I thought about dusting off the last speech, then I said, what fun would that be? So I decided to find stories that would be fitting to send you young, naive, eager babies about to go out in this vicious world of business. For those of you who don't know me, I graduated Fuqua in 1983. I had an unbelievable experience here, and I've been connected to the Fuqua family for 30 years. In retrospect, I've probably given a good part of my life dedicating myself to whatever I can do to make this institution better. I've had some success, but as Ray Lewis of the Baltimore Ravens has said, it's not about your success, it's about your impact. And success means nothing without giving back. Now, I think I'm good at what I do most days. I like what I do many of those days, but I love to learn every day, and I love to give all the time. Sharing and giving should be two tools in your toolbox that you carry throughout your life. Never leave home without them, because they're as fundamental as a screwdriver and a hammer. I want to share 3 stories that have changed my perspective on how I view the world. I started my first investment banking firm with a business plan and a 6-pack of Corona. The business plan was to map out the strategy. The Corona gave me the courage. After about 6 months, my firm was growing very fast. I was pulling out my hair, and I knew it was just a matter of time before I'd be laying on the floor with someone giving me chest compressions and me deciding to walk towards the light. I needed help. On one particular afternoon, I get a call from a student down at Duke. He called to congratulate me on an article which had been written about me in a magazine. Now, I'm not the most pleasant man on the planet. I can be extremely rough around the edges. Some people call me a grumpy Jamaican like my daddy. But this kid, Milan Selassie, called me that day and changed my perspective on many things. First, after he got all the pleasantries out of the way about the article, he started to tell me what a great man I was. Intelligent, hardworking, clever, brilliant, the next great leader. At that point, I didn't know whether or not to ask him out on a date or to ask for an order of protection. That's when he hit me for the job. I have to say, the brother had skills. Not only did he hit me up for the internship and became my first intern, he convinced me that this Batman needed a Robin. The kid had mastered his ability to sell himself succinctly and saliently. He painted such a picture that I clearly saw the benefits of having him around. Months later, Milan and I were sitting in the office. Being the visionary that he was, he decided, Owen, you need to be on TV. Get your presence out there, brand the firm, be global. And I responded in my own pleasant way, Milan, shut up. Can I just figure out how to make payroll? So one afternoon, Milan is downstairs getting my lunch, notices a TV crew filming on Wall Street. The kid had no fear. He walks up to the TV producer and asks what they were doing. They explained to him that they were interviewing Wall Street executives. Milan told the woman, I'm sorry, had I known, I would have got you an interview with Mr. May. Mr. May, she replied. Yes, the CEO of one of Wall Street's newest and most dynamic firms. I'm sure you must have heard of him. Maybe next time, he said. He would have been such a great catch for you guys. I'm so sorry. Milan knew he had piqued her interest. The next thing you know, along with Milan coming back to the office with my lunch, I have TV cameras, boom mics being set up in my office for this interview, which led to a spot on weekly TV, which led to Bloomberg TV broadcasting the name of my firm on a global basis. Milan understood how to connect the dots, how to make me better. So, as you take this first job, you probably think it's all about you. The smart ones, who get to navigate the system faster than most, realize it's not about them. I repeat, they realize it's not about them. So guys, it's not about you. And since English is not everyone's first language, I want you to look at your neighbor and say it in your native tongue. It's not about you. I don't want any confusion, just in case we're having a failure to communicate. It's about making the people that you're working for better. Milan understood his job was to make me the best that I could be. That's something he understood well. We believe that our hard work and our competitive nature to beat out our fellow associates to get to the next level, understand that being in the right environment, fostering the right relationships to have your team win is the most important thing. You will be recognized for your work without trying to wear it on your sleeve. Be confident, not arrogant. Support the people that you serve so they can be better. Trust me, you'll be rewarded. It's kind of hard to understand that this ain't about you. But when you are the creative genius, that visionary, when you can solve problems and create innovative solutions, you will be a trusted resource, just like Milan was for me. Whomever you serve will find it necessary to keep you close. When I was last here, I spoke about finding your Shaka Zulu. For those of you who don't know Shaka, he was a feared South African warrior. I spoke about Shaka because in the world of business, we must be warriors. It doesn't matter what's going on. The Shaka Zulus of the world still have to put their loincloth on, sharpen their spears, and go out and hunt gazelle, so their tribe can survive. We all know these fierce warriors: Spartacus, Sun Tzu, Alexander the Great, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Those whom we can count on to make things happen. So one day, word gets back to the village that they would be involved in a battle with the neighboring tribe. As the messenger approaches Shaka's hut, he notices Shaka's not in there. Unbeknownst to him, Shaka has a bit of a stomach virus. He's been on the potty all night. He's had some bad gazelle, and unfortunately, his heir apparent, his son, has had some of the same meal. Who will protect the village? How about the young man who never hunts, stays at home, helps the women cook? Well, that scenario comes true this season for the New York Knicks. Their Shaka Zulus, Amari Stoudemire, Carmelo Anthony, were plagued with injuries. Their coach looks down the bench. Hey, kid, don't know your name, but tighten up your sneakers. You have to play tonight. What's your name again? Jeremy, coach. Jeremy Lin. The point is, we never know when we will be called on. Our moment of truth, our time to shine. But whenever it is, we must be ready. Stepping up as a leader. That's what we prepare for here. This is why we enroll in Fuqua, to get the necessary skill set to do what's ever necessary when that moment arrives. Staying calm, focused, with the ability to still have clarity under tremendous stress will separate out the great leaders. Taking whatever that complex situation is with that Jack Bauer time clock ticking louder and louder than you've ever heard before, still trying to remain calm so you can make the best decision for your team. It's a time that we will all face. Which leads me to my next story. I can assure you it's true, but take it for whatever it's worth. There will be a time in your life that the situation will be bigger than you. That situation could be an unbelievable crisis. It could be in business. It could be you leaning over someone we love's hospital bed, realizing that there is nothing you can humanly do, or something that you find yourself in saying, how the hell did I end up here? This story is about a woman by the name of Adassa. She's been part of my family all my life. She has this uncanny ability to see things before they happen. The running joke in my family is, Adassa, don't dream about me. The gift of hers is extraordinary. More importantly, Adassa's belief and faith in God has helped her cope with this gift, because sometimes seeing what's about to happen can feel like a curse. One Sunday afternoon, I go to my summer house where my parents live, and Adassa's there taking care of some of the work around the property. As I get out the car, I saw Adassa in the garden. She immediately comes up to me and says, Owen, I have to talk to you. I had a dream about you. My reaction was the same as I had with Bill Boulding. Oh, hell no. So I braced myself to whatever the bad news was, because I knew it had to be bad. She tells me I was going to be visited by 3 white individuals, 2 male and a female. One male will be wearing glasses. And she said they were coming to turn my world upside down. Oh, great. Well, do you know, Monday morning, 3 regulators showed up in my office unannounced. 2 men, 1 woman, white, 1 with glasses. And for the next several months, they decided to turn my life upside down. She told me to pray and read a certain passage in the Bible, Psalms 91, and that things would eventually work out. She said she would also pray for me. As the summer went on, things got progressively worse. The pressure and the stress that I was under became unbearable. I wouldn't call myself suicidal, but if I felt like if I was hit by a truck, I would have welcomed the relief. I headed to my summer house again one Saturday, and Adassa tells me she's going back to Jamaica for an emergency. Turns out, a neighbor was trying to steal her cow. Really? Seriously, Adassa? I said it to myself. Here I am in a crisis, and you're leaving for a cow. But she said if I gave her a picture, she would bring it to Jamaica and continue to pray. The only picture that I had of myself was a picture of me in front of my office buildings downtown. So that's the one she prayed over. Meanwhile, I felt hopeless. I felt there was nothing I could do. I felt all was lost. The feeling of hopelessness started to overwhelm me, that all that kept me from losing my sanity was my faith in God. I had to remind myself that through prayer, things could be resolved. This thought brought me hope, and that hope gave me strength to continue to fight even when I thought I had 0 fight in me. Meanwhile, back in Jamaica, Adassa has another dream, a nightmare. She wakes up hysterically, so hysterical that everyone in the house is now up, and even the neighbors come over. Again, she seeks comfort through prayer, and everyone's outside at 3 a.m. in the morning for this Owen guy who's in harm's way. Now me, I'm not getting up at 3 a.m., I'm not. And I would have suggested to the neighbors, call 911 and have this woman committed. So I'm glad there were no old Jamaicans like myself and my daddy, just loving neighbors willing to pray for a stranger in New York. I heard about this story the night of September 11th, that there was a prayer vigil that had taken place 2 days earlier. Until then, I can tell you I wondered how I survived the day's events. I was late to work when I knew I had a meeting that everyone was waiting on me to begin. I never blow off meetings. And that particular meeting was outrageously important. But something told me to go back to bed and get that extra 20 minutes. Those 20 minutes saved my life. My office was in Tower 1, World Trade Center on the 87th floor. So, thank God for a cow thief, some villagers, a snooze button, and a picture of me in front of the World Trade Center. Go figure. Believe in something. For me, that's God. For you, it could be Allah, Buddha, Jesus, Jehovah, or the Tooth Fairy. But have something to believe in. Because prayer and meditation brings hope, and hope brings eternal strength. Strength that we might not have on our own. I've lost too many friends who have given up in life because the pressure and the stress overwhelmed them and weakened them to a point where there was no way out, and they gave up on hope. They would be here today if they would have found the inner source to lean on. I would not have been able to fight my own personal battles without believing in some sort of higher power. And that higher power showed Adassa that Owen was about to be in serious trouble and showed her what to do. Listen, let's keep it real. Because we pray, I'm not saying our prayers will be answered. What I am saying, sometimes it gives us strength to make it through whatever terrible crisis that you're encountering. And yes, we do have crisis. And yes, sometimes those prayers are answered by some higher power, whoever you choose. Life is about to get complicated. There will be many things that you will encounter that will be bigger than you. Things that mommy and daddy or a big fat check can't fix. Situations that you will find yourself that neither Jack Bauer nor the Avengers can handle. Don't ever lose hope. We will all have to face adversity at some point in time in our life. But if we can lean on something with a higher power, those challenges will be surmountable. Don't wait until you get in the foxhole. Find balance in your life now. Keep dreaming, keep learning, keep loving, keep giving, and keep praying. In closing, as you leave the womb of Mama Duke, the first thing you'll realize, this place is special. The sense of community and family is like no other. Take the tools and the skills that you have learned, leave here and go out and produce change. One person, one good deed at a time. The world will benefit from your good deeds, no matter how small. I wish you health, happiness, and more success that you already have. Now that we have these tools, take them and become leaders. But more importantly, take them and become leaders of consequence. Thank you.
Owen, thank you so much. Owen is someone who has incredible humility, and yet he's always ready, and he has a burning ambition to make a difference in the world. In short, Owen truly is a leader of consequence. Thank you so much, Owen. And on behalf of everyone here, would you accept this gift?
Oh, and I would like to echo Bill's thanks. You parents and family members don't know, Owen is an incredibly special friend to the MMS program. So to have him here today to share those inspirational words just means the world to all of us. So thank you, Owen. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Fuqua Scholars for the MMS class of 2012. The highest academic honor one can earn at Fuqua is to be named a Fuqua Scholar. They represent the top 10% of the class. It's important that we recognize the excellence represented by all these students, but it does seem fitting to recognize the outstanding achievement of these Fuqua Scholars. Fuqua scholars, I will announce your names alphabetically. When your name is announced, I ask that you please stand at your seat and remain standing until all the names have been read. For those of you in the audience, I ask that you please hold your applause until I have announced all the Fuqua scholars so that all the names may be heard. The Master of Management Studies, Class of 2012 Fuqua scholars are Ryan Francis Cannon, Wei Jia Chen, Ali Barge Dickman, Board Eric Hagen, Phil Wan Kim, Daniel Kravitz, Jing Shi Liao, Meng Liao, Luis Segbe Mensa, Ga Nan, Shuyu Zhang. Please join me in congratulating the MMS Fuqua scholars. Congratulations. Now it is time to individually recognize each of our graduates. Today, we ask each graduate to come forward, be recognized and receive your scroll, and accept congratulations from Dean Boulding, Owen May, Jennifer Francis, Scott Dyring, myself, and everyone assembled here. I would like to ask Keith O'Hare, the Program Manager for MMS, and Sterling Ingway, the Associate Director for MMS, to come forward and read the names of the MMS graduates. At graduates, we're going to ask you to file up, and as your name is called, come across the stage, receive your scroll, and our congratulations. For those of you in the audience, a moment ago, I asked that you refrain from applauding. The rules are different now. As each name is called, we want you to express your joy, so please feel free to do so. You also are welcome, if you would like, to come forward and take pictures. We just ask in doing so that you don't block the view of any other member of the audience. You don't block the professional photographer we have here today. And if you're coming down on the floor, we ask that you don't block the graduates as they come forward. It's time now for everybody to line up, and we're going to get those scrolls.
Phil Wan Kim. Obina Michael Arizor. Devin Alexander Bostock. Crystal Leo. Juliana Ajua Aduma Taylor. Maximilian Harris Baez. Paige Colleen Bartley. Preston Gerald Babas. Ann Collison Bile. Mark Philip Betosh. Gautam Bharti. Nishita Reddy Badala. Monica Andrea Borbano de Lara. Chase Alexander Calvert. Ryan Francis Cannon. Hao Ming Chang. Ting Yu Chang. Hunter Randall Chapeau. William Henry Chase. Weijia Chen. Luke Charles Crane. Ali Barge Dikman. Jessica Lauren Dross. Daniel Warren Dykes II. Emil Charles Ferris. Christopher Jordan Fight. Megan Falcon Forlines. Anna Brooke Garrison. Tyler Shane Greer. Pierre Hajej. Emma Elizabeth Hom. Board Eric Hagen. Ishu Hua. Priyanka Jivananandam. Dauga Alexander Lucille Jin. Yuan Jin. Alicia Chanel Johnson. Patrick David Kelty. Grace Yeun Kim. Kenneth Joseph Knutson. Andrew Douglas Cole. Daniel Kravitz. Eugene Lau Wei Chuan. Janet Z.K. Lee. Mary Caperton Armistead Lester. Jingxi Liu. Meng Meng Liu. Wenjiao Liu. Catherine Lindsay Lutens. Candice Maria Lopez. Chen Lau. Chantel Trish McGuire. Louise Segbe Mensa.
Eve Catherine Meyer. Elizabeth Ann Mortensen. Samantha Ann Muma. Gu Nan. Elizabeth Ann Oldenburg. Hailey Peng. Enrique Para Arce. Ashita P. Patel. Deepesh N. Patel. Alyssa Ann Polizzi. Lavanya Rugaraman. Naresh Visa Ramohan. Samuel Elijah Reynolds. Max Andrew Rosenberg. Felixberto Roxa III. Ricardo S. Rust. Christopher Sheridan Wynn Shannon. Nikita Sharma. Joshua Benjamin Sheets. Neil Shalat. Elizabeth Alwyn Sloan. Lily Sloan. Haley Alexandra Spitz. Jeremiah Franklin Starzia. Zachary Aaron Stegman. Meredith Sloan Stoyer. Caroline Wilder Stone. Unirud Subramanian. Andrew Gregory Segru. Jonathan Darius Sukaya. Clarissa Hapsari Sukmoro. Alexandra Elizabeth Swan. Kevin Ming Tam. Antoine Jerome Thornton. Jacqueline J. Tudisco. Trenton James Talbert. Irina Tretiak. Mung Hua Tang. Athena T. Kalina Akimi Wakamatsu. June Wong. Brent Shu. Haley Ellen Young. Miranda Grace Young. Li Zhang. Ran Zhang. Shuyu Zhang. Yue Zhu. Andrew John Dwelling.
How about one more round of applause for the entire class? Pretty cool, isn't it? I said at the beginning that this was a time for looking back, a time to celebrate, and also a time to look forward. Now it's time for the looking forward part. And I need to apologize to those of you in the audience because it's an MMS tradition that at the end of the commencement exercises, we actually give a charge to the students, which means I'm going to quit looking to y'all and look just at them, because these words are meant just for them. These are your last words of advice before you leave the Fuqua School. In thinking about what to say to you, I found my inspiration in the fact that you are the third graduating class in the MMS program. And I found myself focusing on interesting things about the number 3. And you're going to find that I found my inspiration in some pretty odd places. From a children's cartoon, from atomic physics. You probably didn't think I knew much about physics, did you? From etymology, and also from a quote that we shared with you on the very first day of orientation last July. Now let's start with the children's cartoon, Schoolhouse Rock. Don't know if any of you ever saw it, but it's a great cartoon if you want to learn your multiplication tables, or all about grammar and parts of speech. There's actually a little cartoon that goes with every number. And I find it fascinating that Schoolhouse Rock made the number 3 the very first episode that they made. Doesn't seem like a real logical place to start, does it? And it has remained one of their most famous episodes. It also has, in my opinion, by far the best Schoolhouse Rock name. The episode about 8 has the kind of uninspired name of Figure 8. The episode about 11, I don't even really understand what it's supposed to be saying because it's called The Good 11, and I don't even really know what that means. But for number 3, it's really cool. 3 is a magic number. And when they talk about the magic of 3, they don't mean the magic that you can wave your magic wand, but they talk about how 3 really is a very important number in science, in mathematics, in engineering, in religion. When you get down to the bottom and the heart of things, you seem to find the number 3. When you think about the atom, it has 3 pretty important parts. When you think about a tripod, it needs 3 things to hold it up. When you think about the dimensions that we use to understand space, there are 3 of them. And it was that 3 coordinates that help you find your way through space, which led me to what I'm going to say to you today, because I'd really like to give you an idea of what we think are the 3 coordinates that will help you as you move out into the world and beyond the Fuqua School. And you will find some very strong echoes of what Juliana and Owen had to say to you today. Now let's move on to atomic physics, and I can show you the little bit that I know about what happens at an atomic level. Atomic physicists count this way: 1, 2, many. Because it turns out that you can discuss one particle pretty effectively. When 2 particles are together, you can explain that fairly well. But when 3 particles come together, it becomes so complex and so rich that you might as well be talking about 1,000 particles. And that is what I found interesting about you as a class. When 3 of you were together, the odds were exceedingly high that 3 countries would be represented, 3 differing undergraduate majors, 3 different desired career goals, 3 totally different philosophies of life. But you embraced that many, and you made the most of it. You understood that out of many comes richness and complexity, which is very, very good. The next place I want to take you is to etymology and the root derivation for the word 3. Once again, when people were figuring out that they could count and they were trying to apply numbers to things, they understood 1 because they understood themselves, When two people were together, they understood two, but when it went beyond two, the concept was beyond. And when you look at the root derivation for the word three, its most closest twin is the word for beyond. And once again, I felt that applied to you, because you have always been people who found the desire to move beyond what you were supposed to be doing. And I referenced lots of those things in my introduction, the things you did beyond what was expected of you to make Fuqua a better place and to enhance the MMS student experience. The next place I want to go to is the quote that we shared with you on the very first day of orientation. It's by Michelangelo, and it says that the greatest thing to be concerned about in life is not setting your aim high and missing the mark. It is setting it low and achieving the mark. And so we told you from the very beginning to aim high, and you very clearly have been a class that did so. So when we think about what we want to be, the coordinates that you will use to guide you through life, we want them to be many, beyond, and high. We want you to always embrace the many. Embrace the diversity of the world so that you can find the richness that comes from that. We desperately need that. We need people who can work across barriers to bring out the best in everyone. We want you to be people who strive beyond. We want you to always look for new and different ways to do things, to solve the complex problems that are facing our world in a new and energized way. We want you to press beyond the political and the cultural divides that separate people. And we want you to work beyond what you believe you can accomplish. It's easy when you're out working to think that you can only affect the things right around you. But in today's connected world, it is really possible for one person or a small group of people in one part of the world to truly have a positive impact around the world. And then finally, in all that you do, we want you to aim high, to strive for excellence in all that you do, and to be people of the highest integrity. So these are the coordinates that we want for you. Embrace the many, strive beyond, and aim high. If you do so, we are confident that you will be those courageous change agents that Juliana encouraged you to be, and that you will be those people who believe in something, who are those leaders of consequence that Owen encouraged you to be. And in closing, I would just like to say it's been a delight for us to work with you, the third MMS class, and for us it is true. 3 has been a magic number. I would now like to ask Dean Boulding to come forward, because he is actually the one who gets to send you out into the world and that fabulous future that we know you're going to have. Thank you all.
So I guess I'm here because everything has been said, but not everybody has said it. So let me be the final person to send you off into the world. First of all, congratulations on an incredible journey. It's been less than a year. At times, I'm sure it felt like a millennium. At other times, it probably felt like a second. But it's an incredible journey you've been on, and you have transformed yourselves in remarkable ways. I'd like to thank Owen for his inspirational comments, or as one of the graduates put it, your speech rocked. So thank you for that. I'd like to thank, yes. I'd like to thank the staff and the faculty that are here and those that are beyond, so I guess that's 3 of them, that supported you during this journey. People here really care about the MMS program. They care about you, they love this program, and they want to make sure that it is sustained in a way that is brilliant. So many thanks to them for what they've done. I also want to thank all the friends and family that are here and those that can't be here today, in terms of 2 things. One, sharing all of you with us, because we recognize that you all gave something up to allow these students or graduates to be here. but also thank you for supporting them. It does take a team, it does take a network of individuals to be able to do something great. They've all accomplished something great through and with your support, so many, many thanks to all of you. You should be cheering them. And of course, I want to thank all of the graduates. You have been an amazing class, and you have made us better by your presence. And so I can't thank you enough for all that you've brought to Fuqua to bring the flavor of the third MMS class in a way that enhances who we are and what we do. And so to be able to co-create with all of you is an incredible privilege and just a wonderful thing for all of us to be able to say that we worked with this class. Having said that, there are a couple of things that I ask. One is, don't forget us. Stay in touch. Make sure that you invest back in the students that are going to follow you. And please, please don't forget each other. You are just far too important to each other in terms of what you're going to do as you move forward in your careers. And so take advantage of the fact that you have some incredible classmates who are now incredible alumni with you. So with that, I think we can actually have you all stand and perhaps give you one last round of applause. And so if the audience could please remain where you are until the last student has recessed out of the auditorium, or Cameron Indoor Stadium as we know it, we'll all see you in the Fox Center because it's time to celebrate. Congratulations.
Produced by Duke University. Online at duke.edu.